Hello, welcome back to my channel and our Simple Abundance year with Sarah Ban Breathnach's book, Simple Abundance. It is getting to the end of a long day. I thought about not coming on today, but I did tell you yesterday I was going to be back. After doing 2 videos yesterday, I was like, they can just wait till my video on Saturday. But there were a bunch of things going through my mind and some things to share that seem relevant to today. So here I am, just got out of the shower. I'm looking at myself in the screen and going like, ugh. But you guys have seen me in my pajamas at this point. This is only like one level down from that. Or up, I guess. So why do I care? Whatever, at this point. You guys have seen me from all angles. So it is May 29th, and the entry in the new book is called The Art of Puttering. I don't know that I do a ton of what Sarah considers puttering. She says it's different from straightening, tidying up, and cleaning. She has coined this term in her own way to just mean going around the house and rearranging things sort of in a divine and relaxed way. She shares that she likes to have music on in the background and that she just really needs to feel inspired if she's going to start moving around things on the mantle or deciding to move furniture even. I don't make a lot of changes like that, although now that I'm saying that, I did actually move some pictures around lately. I was thinking about the feng shui move 27 items, so I did move some stuff and switched around some things in cubbies and things, so I did do that. But I don't know that I specifically set aside time like she does. She does it mostly on Saturdays, she said. She calls it a ritual. She says puttering is the intersection of introspection and inspiration. It's not on our to-do list, therefore it charms, centers, and cajoles stressed spirits. But I can't begin to enjoy rearranging personal mementos or a beautiful vase of flowers with clutter all around me and cobwebs in the corner. Surely I'm not the only woman in the world who has ever glanced up at a corner of her living room and found a masterpiece worthy of Charlotte's Web. Guilty. So I usually set aside Saturday afternoon for puttering. After I've primed the house as a fresh canvas, inviting me to paint beauty in my surroundings. So basically she's cleared out all the clutter, she's done the tidying and everything, and then she takes the time to just go around and rearrange. What do you guys think of that? Do you do any puttering? I don't know that I feel enough of a need to have change all the time to need to do that. Maybe I do always put flowers out, so maybe I'm doing that as a sense of puttering when I'm putting my flowers out, but it only takes me like 2 seconds and I don't put music on in the background. I guess I could make more an event of it. I wanted to go through the old book. I do mention this sometimes, this Sarah's book, Daybook of Comfort and Joy, the earlier version of Simple Abundance. I just wanted to go through and see if there was anything in May that we hadn't touched upon from the old book. It does look like some of the entries are going to be moved ahead into June because we will be continuing on with more of the home into the beginning of June. But I did find this one that I can't find in the new book. It may be later in the year, but it's called Passion, the Authentic Muse. I liked this one. Passion is wild, chaotic, unpredictable, permissive, excessive, obsessive. She says Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction. Passionate women can't help but exult in their emotions, revel in their desires, howl at the moon, act out their fantasies, boil a pet rabbit. I wonder if you guys know that movie. I don't know if I'd call that character passionate, would you? I guess she was, but she was also a little bit overly obsessive. I don't know how to describe that, but Passion is holy, she goes on to say, a profound mystery that transcends and transforms through rapture. We need to accept that a sacred fire burns within, whether we're comfortable with the truth or not. Passion is part of real life's package because we were created by love, for love, to love. If we do not give outward expression to our passion, we will experience self-immolation and spontaneous combustion of our souls. She said that before about other things. And I've said that too. Like, if I don't express, then I can just implode. She says, did you know that the Quran, right? The sacred book of Islam and the Jewish Talmud teach that we will be called to account for every permissible pleasure life offered us, but which we refuse to enjoy while on earth. Interesting. Dorothy Sayers, the deeply spiritual English writer, believed, quote, the only sin passion can commit is to be joyless. Go now, depart in peace, and sin no more. So I would take the message at the end there to mean that if you had passion but you didn't act on it in a positive way, that you'd have to account for that. They are called to account for every permissible pleasure life afforded but which they refuse to enjoy. So what do you think passion is? Passion could be feeling and expressing and being very authentic. I mean, that's what she said. Passion, the authentic muse. I like that correlation with fire, because I do think when you think of fire with passion, right? It's like your soul is lit up and aflame. Do you guys think that you're passionate? I think I'm passionate for sure in every way. I was also thinking I'm really sensitive as well. And I was thinking today so much. Okay, so we know what's going on in the world right now with riots and so much. I guess that could be passion as well. People have very passionate, strong feelings right now about a lot of things. And I think it's pretty ironic that yesterday's video, I'm telling you guys all about morning and evening routines and not watching the news before bed and going to bed on time and all this stuff that I try to live by. And then don't you know that a few hours later after that video, well, it was a few hours later, it was like 12 hours later. Last night late, I'm watching live all these riots going on, and I'm telling myself, like, what are you doing? You just did a video on this. Like, what are you doing? But I was very drawn in because it was one of those things like when there's something really insane happening and it's live, and all of a sudden the camera crew had to leave the area and go dark because they were saying that the building might explode and everything. So then I was so sucked in, I went over to Twitter, and then this is like 1 o'clock, 1:30. It was really, really too late to be awake. But I'm awake during this whole thing where the president is saying all of his tweets and people are reacting, and I can't even believe I'm doing that. It's so not like me. In fact, I shared with you guys this whole thing about watching the news. This is so foreign to me. For 10 years, I basically only heard news from stuff that might pop up online if I was checking Yahoo email or something, or hearing people in conversation and then kind of like, oh, I guess there was an earthquake somewhere, and then looking it up later. But and I've been totally happy that way, and I shared that in another video earlier this year. But because of the way 2020 is going, I've definitely been more connected. But last night was kind of the final straw for me because I didn't go to bed until very, very late because I was so sucked into this whole thing happening live. And It's nothing that I could do anything about. And yes, it's personal suffering, but what I was about to say is that I am so sensitive to all of that. I shared with you guys in another video too the term highly sensitive person, and I am definitely, they call it an HSP. I am absolutely an HSP. I've read books about this now. It's not like super unique, but it's not the whole population. So when you are highly sensitive, you're absolutely more apt to be very affected by things like traumatic things like that happening. So I was thinking about it all day, and I've had such a weird day because I had to get up early today too, so I didn't sleep well. Yeah, so I've mentioned this book before. It's Cheryl Richardson, The Art of Extreme Self-Care, and it is similar to Sarah's book in that it's a year-long program, but I've grabbed some things from it in the past to share with you guys. And one of her sections, chapter 8, is called You're So Sensitive. And I thought it was appropriate to just mention it today because I bet you that some of you guys are pretty sensitive too. And I'm just going to go through her tips for how to protect your own sensitivity. And I needed to revisit these because something's got to change. In fact, I told my dad over email this morning, he knows that I'm just not that connected. And I told him, I was like, I have to go back to not watching the news. And I told him about what happened. And he wrote me back and he said, you need to watch Frozen, which, that Disney movie. So, yeah, I'm much happier just watching Disney. So I just can't do it. So anyway, so what are Cheryl's tips? So her first one is step into the moment. And so she's talking about the practice of bringing yourself into the present moment and getting in the habit of managing your mind. You can do this in simple ways every day. When you're driving in your car, noticing that your hands are on the wheel, noticing the sensations in your body, like tuning into those. I can't remember now what one of you guys commented on a video early on. I think it was, I don't even actually remember the topic of the video now, but the person said when they were trying to calm themselves, then they would think about what is one thing that I see, what is one thing that I hear, what is one thing that I can touch. It sort of like grounded them into the moment. And I really liked that. And I think that's a really good suggestion. I think it was Allison. Allison, I'm pretty sure you said that, but I don't know what video it was on, but it's something I've thought of. So getting into the present moment. That's a good one. The second one is turn down the noise. I shared with you guys yesterday, especially in the morning, I just don't like the noise. I don't like silence all the time either, but I like to have a good mix of it. And I definitely don't like really, really loud stuff. I had my day of going to loud concerts, but I guess I've gotten older now, so not my thing. But so turn down the noise, having silence as much as you can, and just not having that overstimulated experience all day long. Stop the violence is number 3. So I have noticed over the years, and I think I shared with you guys in another video too, that I don't remember if I called it out, but I was trying to watch Game of Thrones a few years ago. Everybody was talking about it, and I think I even got to season 5 or something, and everybody was getting killed, and there were all these things, and I'm sitting there, and I would have it on the background sometimes when I was doing something, and all of a sudden I just one day was watching it, and I'm hearing all this screaming and stuff. It's basically like, actually, remember the movie Braveheart? Well, that was a pretty muted version, but there's so much killing in that one. And then, so this, I'm hearing all the screaming and like blades hitting each other and arrows. And I just was like, what are you doing? Again, it was just like last night what are you doing? Why are you watching this thing that like everybody's talking about? Who cares? So yeah, I just shut it off. I don't even know how the season ends or the series ends. I know I could look it up if I cared that much. And I enjoyed the characters and the plot lines and things, but it was just so violent. I just had to shut it off. So I just don't do violent. Like it's really rare that I would watch a movie now, or I mentioned to you guys some shows that friends of mine were watching on Netflix during the quarantine, and I can't do any of that. I just need to have like the Smurfs and other things like that, because it's just, when you're really sensitive, you are so affected by these things. And then if you get to the point where you're like me and you're just watching something almost unconsciously that's really violent, it's just bringing that more into your life. Like I've mentioned the law of attraction before. If that's going to be in your consciousness, then you're going to start noticing that in your own life. So stop the violence. She says even right here, I rarely watch the news. And she also says, I immediately recycle any piece of marketing material that uses fear to relay the message. That's a good point. As you start paying closer attention to what you expose your eyes and ears to, ask yourself, does this encourage or discourage my sensitivity? Then choose accordingly. Number 4, put limits on toxic people. I think that's pretty straightforward. Hopefully you are aware when there is a toxic person. I've had to do some of that in my own life. Even in family situations, it's hard, but you have to have boundaries. Manage technology. We've talked a little bit about that. Trying to make sure you have a setup of checking emails and maybe not having notifications on. I did a video. I'll try to look back and see what these videos are that I keep mentioning when I say I did a video and somebody commented on this. I'll try to see if I can find the things and then put those in the notes for you guys. Number 6 is set the mood. Knowing the kind of environment that suits you best is another way to care for your sensitive side. Yeah, so even things like what I shared with you guys yesterday about the way that I wake up in the morning, the way that I go to bed, that's definitely setting the mood. And in my office with my essential oils and incense and having soft meditative music on, that's the way I like to live my life. There are so many ways to protect your sensitivity, she says. Maybe you've decided to forgo the frenetic energy of shopping malls by buying what you need online. Perhaps you've chosen clothing sheets or towels that are so soft that they feel wonderful next to your sensitive skin. Or you may have decided to hold smaller dinner parties so that you can have the time you need to visit more intimately with friends. That way you can avoid the overstimulation that comes with larger groups. So that is her take on the steps that you can do to protect your sensitivity. I just want to see one more thing. There's a couple of questions that she asks as you're doing, because each chapter of this book has an extreme self-care challenge. So the extreme self-care challenge related to sensitivity has these 5 questions. 1, where do you need to turn down the noise in your environment? 2, how will you limit the violent and disturbing news that comes into your life on a daily basis? 3, who in your life zaps your energy, causes you anxiety, or makes you feel on guard? How will you protect yourself from this person? 4, what changes do you need to make to better manage technology so that you can respond to the needs of others rather than react? 5, taking into account your 5 senses, what kind of surroundings do you need to feel relaxed and present? Great questions for your journal. Again, that was Cheryl Richardson, The Art of Extreme Self-Care. So I was thinking of that all day long today because I just can't believe that I even... What was I doing last night? Especially with the timing of telling you guys all about what not to do, and then I went and did the opposite. Or I went and did the things that I said not to do. That's a double negative. You know what I mean. And the other thing I was thinking today too, because I was just so taken by all the hate. I don't even know. I mean, I know that this anger that people have is very warranted. But I was thinking too about Dr. Wayne Dyer, who I've mentioned before. And one of the things that he said is when you squeeze an orange, what do you get? Orange juice, right? Because that's what's inside, right? So I've been thinking about in this situation and then in my own life, when you're under pressure, sometimes that can really tell you what's beneath the surface of issues or of your emotions. I know for me, I definitely have a lot of anger because when I get squished or, under pressure or stress or whatever, I do tend to have this anger that just comes out. And so I think the situation was also making me think about that orange thought from Dr. Dyer. I hope you'll think about that a little bit too. When you get squeezed, what comes out of you? Do you get angry? And are you sensitive like me? I've come to learn that it's not a bad thing. Growing up, it was not fostered. It was, you're so sensitive. It's like walking on eggshells. It's just because I cry easily. I do. But now, actually, my family knows how I am, so it's fine now. I'm such a sap. Tears just flow very easily. And it's not even, it's happiness too. It's not even just something sad. And I feel like I have enough of a thick skin that, I can be hurt, but I also have good boundaries too. So it's not that I cry because people are hurting me or anything. It's mostly just because something really sentimental will happen, and it's just the way I am, and I'm totally fine with it now. Totally fine with it. But I also do know that I have some unique emotional needs as well. Like, as I think about myself and being in a relationship, I have to be with a mature, emotionally stable, and emotionally mature partner, because I have unique needs, and I'm just learning more and more about myself, and it's okay, right? I am who I am, and I have that passion. So maybe go do some puttering and make it a passionate experience. And I will be back tomorrow, I know for sure. Tomorrow is May 30th. I definitely have something planned for tomorrow. And then we'll have one more. So actually I'll be with you guys for the next couple of days, because then we'll have the June Joyful Simplicities too. Hope you're not getting sick of me. I'm so glad you're still tuning in. Thank you for all your comments. I love reading and responding, and it's great to see the subscriber number going up as well. So thanks for being one of them. Thanks for tuning in, letting me express myself, because I have to express myself. Have a great night, and I'll be back with you tomorrow. Bye-bye.